Achtung, Achtung! Hier ist die Sendestelle Berlin.
Wenn ihr den Rundfunk hören.
Das Fernsehen will ja kein Luxusartikel bleiben.
Welcome back. How's everybody doing? Yeah? Good? You don't have to clap. Thank you, though. Welcome to the Innovation Stage. I hope you're all doing very well, enjoying the day at IFA. And I don't know about you, but one of the things I love about the company that we're going to hear from next is that they don't just sell products. No. They really help solve problems for their customers. And problems that they might not even know they have, right? This company is a true innovator. They're a pioneer, and they really do deliver high-performance technology to its customers, always making sure the customer is at the center of everything they do. So that's what I would call a customer-centric business. I want you to help me welcome, a big warm welcome to SharkNinja.
Welcome to the world of SharkNinja. We're engineers, developers, and storytellers, sparking a wave of consumer demand felt across the globe. We see problems others can't and solve them with innovative, durable, accessible products, inside and out. We crisp and char. We brew and slush. We clean, scrub, steam and mop. And we do it with style. We are SharkNinja. Built for life and made for you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to speaking to everyone about SharkNinja. SharkNinja went public on the New York Stock Exchange back July 31st of last year. And somebody asked me, what was the most exciting thing about being a New York Stock Exchange public company? And my answer has really always been consistent. It's been, we have a platform to tell our story. Okay, we have an incredible, incredible story. And what I'm so excited about here today is the ability to be able to tell this story to all of you and to all of the folks that are watching here. SharkNinja's a story of innovation. It's not an overnight success story. I mean, we've been at this for over 20 years. We're going to talk to you about kind of how we got to here and why we think we're just getting started in our business. The first is, just to introduce you, if you're not familiar with SharkNinja, we go to market under two multi-billion-dollar brands that we created called Shark, which is a market leader in cleaning, home environment, and beauty, and our Ninja brand, which is a market leader in kitchen appliances, outdoor cooking appliances, other outdoor products. We've never acquired $1 of revenue in the company's history. All of it has been organically grown by us with our ideas, and we'll talk to you a little bit about how we go about this innovation process, how we think about our consumer. So to give you a little bit of an overview of the two brands, the Shark brand is in 14 different categories. The Ninja brand is in 20 different categories. We're in 33, 34 categories overall. And I want to tell you why that's so important. I mean, for all of you that are in the consumer products business, it is very, very hard to be a single product consumer products company. Because everything, if you've been in this business long enough, and I've been running this company now for 16 years, but if you've been here long enough, you know that every product goes up, every product has a peak, and every product ultimately goes down. And the more and more diversified you are, the more and more places for the consumer to be able to interact with you. And so from the very first time, back in 2008, when 65% of our overall business was one product called the Shark Steam Mop, and we didn't even have the Ninja brand at that point, the whole focus on the business was how do we diversify, how do we diversify, how do we diversify? Now that's easier said than done, because there's a lot of reasons why companies don't diversify. Either the consumer doesn't let them diversify, or maybe the retailer doesn't let them diversify, or maybe just in general their skill set doesn't let them diversify. They have a technology, and that technology is kind of core to just one aspect or one category of business. So I think number one important thing to think about as you think about SharkNinja is 34 different unique categories. Just in the last 3 years, we've entered into 19 new categories. 19 new categories. Before this year, we never made in-home slushies. Before a little while ago, we never made in-home espresso. And we'll talk to you about kind of how we take the same product development innovation approach, this thinking about what's the consumer problem, and apply it into solution after solution after solution. We didn't go at it the easy way, okay? We didn't build nearly a $5 billion business with one brand. We built it with two brands. We built it with two brands independently, so that in 2008, when we only had the Shark brand, we decided that there was a problem to solve for the consumer, and that problem happened to have been in kitchen appliances. Now, at the time, we were about a $200 million business. And everyone said to us, there's no way that anyone's going to buy a kitchen appliance product from a cleaning company that only pretty much makes one product, the Shark Steam Mop, and we just come out with our first Shark vacuum cleaner. So we went to Bentonville, Arkansas, the home of Walmart, and we came up with this concept, and the idea was that we wanted to be able to give the consumers the ability in home to be able to do something different than what they were doing outside of the home. And that's an important thing for SharkNinja, and it's an important distinction for us to find trends where the consumer is doing something different outside of the home to inside of the home. At the time, we did some very informal surveying way back, and what we found out is that in the United States, when consumers went out of the home to restaurants or to resorts, what they were most excited about was frozen drinks. And we went into their homes and we said, well, why don't you make those same frozen drinks in their home? And they said, well, the problem is that all of our blenders have blades on the bottom. And when the blades are on the bottom and you put ice into it, the ice just jumps up, and you only are able to process a small part of the ice. So you go and you pour more and more liquid into it. And as you pour more and more liquid into it, it gets waterier and waterier and waterier. Until at a certain point, you're really not drinking a frozen drink, you're really just drinking a cold beverage. And so we looked at it and we said to ourselves, well, why do the blades have to be on the bottom? And everyone told us that we were crazy and said, well, what if the blades could go up the top? And we said, well, how do we do that? You know, we didn't understand. We didn't have any technology around being able to do that. But what we recognized was that there was a consumer problem. And if we could solve that consumer problem, they would be engaged and excited by what we were offering. So we developed a product, and we put these blades going up the top. And that was our first Ninja product. It was called the Ninja Master Prep. And what my partner Mark and I used to do is we used to go around to different retailers, and we'd carry bags of ice that we would pick up at the gas station. And as we'd go around, we'd fill those bags of ice in the stores, in the presentation areas, and we would turn that ice into snow, into fluffy snow. And then we would ask the buyers of these retailers, put your hands into the ice and feel how snowy it is. And they would look at us crazy, because they'd say, I'm not sticking my hands into that ice. But when we ultimately were able to show them the end output, they said, wow, that would be a real consumer problem that you're solving. And so we launched that product in October of 2009, and that's what started the Ninja brand. And at the start, you know, it was this germ of an idea that ultimately turned into what today is a $2.4 billion business of Ninja. And we'll talk about all the products that Ninja is in. We'll talk about all the products that the Shark brand is in. We sell our products today in 32 countries. We're the #1 vacuum brand in North America. We're the #1 vacuum brand in the UK. We're the #1 kitchen appliance brand in North America. We're the #1 kitchen appliance brand in the UK. We're expanding tremendously in EMEA. We're expanding in Latin America. Our brands are doing great in Asia. So we sell our products in 32 countries. The business has over 3,000 associates, and we're going to talk a little bit about how integral they are in helping us really be an extraordinary business. We sell 70 million products a year. 70 million products a year. We have hundreds of millions of dollars of consumers, hundreds of millions of consumers around the world. As I said earlier, you know, we're in 34 different product categories today. The company has over 4,500 patents, and we launch brand new, from the ground up, 25 new products a year. I want to put that into perspective for you. 25 new products from the ground up. This is not taking a product and making it a different color. This is not putting another knob on it. This is 25 new products from the ground up. I'll give you an interesting fact. SharkNinja right now is the fastest growing outdoor cooking company in the world, but it's also the fastest growing hair tools company in the world. So it gives you a sense of, you know, we are just out there focused on trying to find the next consumer problem and identifying what is the solution to that problem. So as I said to you, back in 2008, our business was under $300 million. Over the last 16 years, we've grown our business at a compounded annual growth rate of almost 20% during that period of time. In the last 16 years, we only had one down year in the company's history, and that year was down 2%. And we do it through this 3-pillar growth strategy, which is gaining share in existing categories, expanding into new and adjacent categories, and growing internationally. So how did we get here? I mean, how did we accomplish all of this, and how did we get here, and where does it start from? And it starts from really two things. Okay, people ask me, you know, as we went public, you know, Mark, I mean, what's it all about? I mean, how have you experienced the growth that SharkNinja has experienced? And what people really want me to say is they want me to say that we've got some kind of patent moat, or we've got some kind of technology, or our brands, or our relationships. And the first thing I say to them is, what we have is the way we think. The way we think. Now, I remember sitting in front of an investor in London a couple of years ago and giving him that answer, and he looked at me and said, there is no freaking way I'm going to invest in this company. Think the way you think? Why is that a competitive advantage, the way you think? Can't other people think like you think? Well, I'm going to explain to you the way that is and what happens. It starts with this idea at SharkNinja that we call outrageously extraordinary. Outrageously extraordinary. Not extraordinary, but outrageously extraordinary. And it's the secret to achieving outsized success in a world where most fail to realize their potential. Where most fail to realize their potential. It starts with driving for the extraordinary, setting a calculated, unimaginably high bar in a game worth playing. How many of us at times in business are just trying to get through stuff? You're just trying to do stuff. You've got a long to-do list. You never get through your to-do list, but you just keep checking off the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And for us, it starts with this idea of setting an unimaginably high bar in a game worth playing. What's the game worth playing? What's the big thing that we want to do that is going to be able to make a lasting impact on the consumers that we service? The second is we want to be an explorer. We want to be an explorer. Look, a tour guide knows the path. A tour guide knows exactly where to go. Okay? If you want to go into the Louvre, you want a tour guide. Okay? Because you got 2 hours, you want to go see all the right rooms, you want to make sure that you don't get lost, you want to know where the bathroom is, you want to know where the entrance is and where the exit is. But you want a tour guide. When you're in business, you're in the gray. You don't know where things are headed. You don't know what's happening in the marketplace. Okay? You're experiencing things for the first time. It doesn't matter how much of an expert you are. It doesn't matter how many PhDs you have. At some point, you get to the point where your expertise is no longer useful. Is no longer useful. And when your expertise is no longer useful, you've got to be able to be an explorer. You've got to be able to move with confidence down an uncharted path. And that's what we do all the time. I mean, as people said to us back in 2017, SharkNinja is going to go into the robot business. What do you know about the robot business? In 2022, when they said SharkNinja is going to go into the beauty business, what do you know about the beauty business? In 2024, when SharkNinja was going into the espresso business, what do you know about the espresso business? We learn quickly. We learn quickly, and we'll talk to you about how we do that. We get smarter every day. We get smarter every day, okay? Our decisions and the decisions that we make are only as good until they're not good. They're only as good until they're not good. And so we have a term that we use in the company, which is we reserve the right to get smarter. We reserve the right to get smarter. We make a decision, and ultimately, if we find out that that decision is not the right decision, let's pivot. Let's change. Let's iterate. Let's identify the gaps. But you could do all the planning in the world, but all the planning in the world gets ripped up once the consumer gives you the first piece of feedback. Once that first piece of feedback comes, you could either decide, I'm not going to listen, I'm going to put my head in the sand because I know what's right, or you're going to say, you know what? They've got a point. They've got a point. You know, we've got to be able to rethink where we were going and what we were doing. And lastly, we lead with the relentless desire to know more. I think SharkNinja is probably the most curious organization that you will find out there. We ask question after question after question. We go deeper to see what others don't. To see what others don't. The information is all there, but it's not surface level. It's not surface level. You in business can't ask one question and think that you're going to get to the answer. You got to go to question 2 and question 3 and question 4 until you really find that nugget, which is going to be able to give you something that's going to be transformational. So it starts for us with this, with the thinking, with the way we think as an organization. And this is what's put into effect every day by our 3,000 plus associates that are making these amazing products and bringing these products to life and marketing them. The second is this. In 2010, I sat down and I wrote a mission statement for the company. And generally speaking, you write a mission statement and you put it on the wall and everyone walks by it, no one pays attention. But it was this idea of positively impacting people's lives every day in every home around the world. Positively impacting people's lives every day in every home around the world. And this idea of positively impacting permeates every single thing that we do as an organization. We don't do it for our board of directors. We don't do it for our investors. We don't do it for our banks. We don't do it for our associates. We do it for the consumer that's out there because we believe that if we treat the consumer in the best possible way, everyone else will be made happy. Everyone else will be made happy. Now, that's very hard to do with conviction because, as you all know, you get to become a public company and then it becomes the quarter and the quarter and the quarter, and what happens when things don't go well. And so there's this idea that we have, which is constantly thinking the unthinkable to keep us out of crisis. How do we pivot intentionally so that we can stay out of crisis and we can keep reinventing ourselves as a business? In 2008, we were Shark the Steam Mop Company. And in 2009, 2010, we were Shark the Vacuum Company. And then we were Ninja the Blender Company. And then we were the Heated Cooking Company. And then we're the Robot Company. And then we're the Beauty Company. And then today we're the Outdoor Cooking Company. It just keeps evolving and evolving and evolving and evolving. And what's amazing is when I speak to consumers that own our products, they own multiple products in their home of ours, but they all mention different products. They all mention different products. Something hit them in a unique or different way. And the way we think about our business and what drives this positively impacting people's lives every day is that we have a term that we use which is called affordable, accessible innovation. Affordable, accessible innovation. We're not the highest priced products in the market. We're not the lowest priced products in the market. But we move the opening price consumer up into our brands, and we're also the brand of choice for premium consumers. We're the only brand that you're going to see in the United States that sells to Walmart and sells to Sephora and sells everyone in between. And as a result of that, we're innovating not for the few, we're innovating for the largest demographic group of people that are possibly out there. So what is it about solving problems, and how do we think about solving problems? This term we came up with, exemplifies kind of the way we think about product development. We see problems that others don't, and we solve problems that others can't. We see problems that others don't, and we solve problems that others can't. Now, you're sitting there saying, Mark, what special glasses are you wearing in order to be able to see the problems that others don't? And what particular skill set does the organization have that enables it to be able to solve problems that others can't? And I'll talk to you a little bit about how we go about doing this, but everything starts from this challenge. As we think about an area to attack and go into, it starts with we see problems that others don't, and we solve problems that others can't. So how do we see problems that others don't? It starts with this incredible ability to be able to have ethnographic researchers and consumer insights folks in the organization, and quite frankly, just lots and lots of curious people that just want to know more, And so where do we get these insights from? Well, we're in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of consumer homes every year just observing them. Not asking them questions. Okay, we may ask them questions, but just observing them and observing what they do and trying to look at how they maybe work around the products that they have currently in their home. We scrub social media. We scrub massive amounts of social media. And we look at both the positive sentiment and we look at the negative sentiment. We look at comments that people leave and we try to find these little nuggets out of them that'll be able to be some idea or inspiration that will allow us to be able to come up with the next concept. We look at culture and trends, not just in the small home appliance industry, but in the broader market. We're on TikTok and Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube and all of these constantly trying to scrub it to try to understand what's happening with culture, what's happening with trends. We look at online reviews. We look at the commercial environments. We're in restaurants. We're watching chefs in restaurants. We're in airports. We're in office buildings, looking at the way industrial staff cleans places like office buildings Maybe there are things that they're doing there in much, much tougher environments that can ultimately apply back to the consumer and the consumer's home. So what's one example of this? A number of years ago, this is going back 5 years, we go in to about 100 consumer homes and we watch them vacuum. And in some number of those consumer homes, during the vacuuming process, they turn the vacuum over, they take a scissor or a knife, they cut the brush roll, and they take the hair out of the brush roll. Has anyone had this problem in their home? Anyone? Okay. Okay, so you take it, you pull the hair out, and you throw the hair in the garbage. And we finish with these 100 or so consumers, and we ask them, well, is there anything that you would change about your vacuum cleaner to make it better? And they said, no, it works great. Works great. I mean, it works great. Now, we go back to them, and we say, but we saw that you were, you took a knife or a scissor and you almost cut your hand off and you sliced this hair off the brush roll and you ripped it off and you threw it in the garbage. Pretty disgusting. And they said, yeah. I know. We have 2 daughters with long hair. We have pets. Yeah, it's a problem. We said, do you do that often? Yeah, we do it about once a week. Once every 2 weeks. Really? Would you like to not do it? Would you like? Well, sure, but they actually blame themselves for the problem. The problem was their daughters. Their problem was their pets. The problem wasn't the product. The problem was something about them. And for them, that was just a ritual part of vacuuming. A ritual part of vacuuming. That every 2 weeks, I'm going to take a knife or a scissor, and I'm going to slice the brush roll, and I'm going to rip the hair off of it, and I'm going to throw it in the garbage. That's what I do. Well, that little germ of an idea goes back to our engineering team, and our consumer insights and our product development folks say, can we develop a brush roll that doesn't wrap hair? That doesn't wrap hair. And 18 months later, we created the Shark self-cleaning brush roll, and it became the #1 vacuum cleaner in the United States. The #1 vacuum cleaner in the United States. And if you look at online reviews, what online reviews will say is, they solved my problem. They solved my problem. The minute they saw it, the minute I just told that story, or they saw our advertising, what they said is, that's my problem. That's my problem. You're speaking to me as a consumer. You're solving the problem that I thought was unsolvable. So that's one example. Now the question is that the only example? It's of course not the only example. I mean, we do that across every one of the products. Here's an interesting one. Here's one without a cord. Here's one without a cord. Coolers. Now, how do we meander into coolers? I mean, what does SharkNinja know about making coolers? I mean, we got into outdoor cooking a couple of years ago, and we're the fastest growing outdoor cooking company in the world right now. But why coolers? Well, here's what's interesting. We went and we sat with consumers watching them cook on our outdoor cooking products. We were on their patios, we were with their RVs, we were with their boats, we were with their tailgates, and invariably next to the outdoor cooking appliance was a cooler. And they'd go into their cooler and we'd watch them and they'd pull out a drink and they drink as they're barbecuing or as they're doing something with their outdoor cooking products. And then all of a sudden, in a couple of cases, they pulled out a plastic Ziploc bag and they said, oh crap, it's all wet. It's all wet. Well, the Ziploc bag opened up in this bag, in this ice bath, and all the food that was inside it got wet and soggy. Now, when you ask them, you would say to them, well, wow, that's kind of an annoyance. What they actually said is, yeah, God, I didn't tie it tight enough. I wasn't careful enough. I didn't put it upright in the ice. I should have left it at the top of the ice, but I wanted it to be cold, so I stuck it inside the ice bath. Never once did they say, it would be so great if there was a place for me to put my food that was cold and dry, separate from my beverages. Because my cans of beer or soda don't mind sitting in the ice bath, but when I open up my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I want to make sure that it's not soggy. And so what happens? You know, a consumer insights person, product development comes back to our engineering team and says, can we solve the problem of the soggy sandwich? Now, I don't know how many of you own a cooler. I don't know how many of you in here have had the problem of the Ziploc bag opening up. But other people in that room said, I've had that problem. I've had that problem. And so we set out and said, okay, well, what do? We're engineers. Okay, we could figure it out. So let's go ahead and let's figure it out as engineers. Let's go take a motor and put it in there. Let's go take battery power and put it in there. We'll refrigerate the cooler. There's a big problem with that. That's going to be about $1,000. It's going to be hugely heavy, and no one's going to want to lug that around. And what happens when the battery dies? And all of a sudden, this little idea comes up that says, wow, we actually have 20 pounds of ice sitting there. How do we somehow transfer the cold from the 20 pounds of ice into some cold, dry storage area that we called Frost Vault? Frost Vault. We went and we put the Ninja Frost Vault out on social media, and in 1 week, the product completely sold out. In 1 week, the product completely sold out. Now, I got to tell you something. Outdoor coolers, I don't think are something that the consumer is sitting there at home saying, I can't wait for that outdoor cooler to come out. Okay? But by seeing the problem that we solved, they were able to immediately say, that's my problem. Wow, that's amazing. Somebody came up with something that allows me to be able to keep my food cold and dry and my beverages sitting in the ice. As a second thing. Now, how do we solve problems that others can't? We have this idea called chasing the sun. Chasing the sun is that we have a 24/7 innovation cycle at SharkNinja. We have a team of 1,100 engineers around the globe that are based in Boston, London, and China. And every product that we work on, when the CAD is worked on in Boston, they go to sleep, and they pass the CAD to China, and they work on it. And then when they go to sleep, they pass the CAD to London, and they work on it. And that cycle goes on 24 hours a day as we're developing. Now, it doesn't just help us from a speed standpoint. It also helps us from the standpoint that these are engineers in different parts of the world that are going to look at the product in very, very different ways. The engineers in China might look at it more from a design for manufacturing standpoint or a design for cost. You know, the British engineers are going to look at it from a different perspective than the American engineers are going to be. And so this happens over and over and over again across these 1,100 engineers. So this incredible ability to see problems that others don't, and then this incredible ability to be able to solve problems that others can't. So here's another example of how that comes to life. We have what's called in the business an agile, consumer-driven innovation process. What does that mean exactly? Every product that we make goes into over 750 consumer homes and is used for 4 weeks at a time. This is before the product sees the light of day on a retailer shelf. And from the time that the product's already tooled up at this point. So we've made all kinds of changes to the product. We've made all our prototypes. We've gone into tooling. And now the product's in tooling. And most companies would say, it's in tooling. There's nothing we could do about it. The train's left the station. We'll worry about it on Gen 2. Gen 2. Anyone ever hear say, well, we'll do it on Gen 2? Okay, God doesn't give you the right to do a Gen 2. You have the right to do Gen 1. And if you do a great job with Gen 1, then you earn the right to do Gen 2. So the way we think about it is we'd love to solve all the problems in the product, but until it actually gets into a consumer's home, we just don't know. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that'll come up as the consumer interacts with it for 4 weeks. The average product of ours has over 200 changes from the time that it comes off of tool and goes into a consumer's home to the time it goes into mass production. There's many people that would say that that's chaos or that's crisis or why didn't you solve all those ideas beforehand? Well, you tell me how with a prototype you can get into 750 homes and the consumer can use it for 4 weeks and really understand and put it through its paces as to how they're ultimately going to interact with the product. But this happens on every single product that we do. Now, what's the outcome of it? The outcome of it is products that consumers love. Products that consumers love. Our Ninja Creamy today has over 1 billion impressions on TikTok. Over 1 billion impressions on TikTok. And there's something really interesting, about the power of social media in our business. When it comes to, we just launched a product in the United States called the Ninja Slushie. Now you say, wow, like how interesting is slushies? Well, I want to tell you something, okay? In the United States, and I'm telling you, it will be in Germany, okay? And you will be so excited, and in France, okay, and in Austria, and all the countries here, okay, and you will be slushying as well. Okay, but in the United States, people go out of their house and they go to convenience stores, they go to fast food restaurants, and they buy giant slushies. Well, why don't you do that at home? Well, there's nothing that allows you to be able to do that at home. Now, why is this so exciting? Because the slushie appeals to the mom that wants to make a healthy orange juice slushie for their kids. It appeals to the college student that wants to make a margarita slushie at a party. And it appeals to the older person that might want to take rosé wine and put it into here and turn it into a frosé. So the demographics that we're appealing to here are tremendous, tremendous. We launched the product a few weeks ago in the United States. It sold out in 3 days, and currently today, from the time the slides were written, there's 160,000 people on our waiting list. 160,000 people on our waiting list to be able to get the Ninja Slushie, and this is a product that's going to be coming here in 2025. In terms of, the consumer, okay, and I want to talk a little bit about kind of the evolution of the consumer. When I was a kid growing up in New York in the 1980s, there was a store called Simms. And their commercials on TV, I remember watching them, would say the educated consumer is our best customer. Educated consumer. Anyone here alive in the 1980s? Is anyone alive in the 1980s? A lot of times I'm talking and most people have no idea what the 1980s were. Okay? Well, in the 1980s, okay, there were not many educated consumers. There were not many educated consumers. I mean, you bought a product, and if you didn't like the product and you returned it, maybe you told your mom or your dad or your friend or your husband or your wife, but it was just the closed circle that you were in. I mean, you had no ability to tell 10 million of your closest friends to either buy the product or not buy the product. So that was 1980. Well, fast forward to 2009, and we're sitting in front of, my partner Mark and I are sitting in front of a big US retailer, and we say to them, we're going to win, we're going to grow our business 1 5-star review at a time. And the retailer looked at us and said, that's the stupidest thing in the world. That's the stupidest thing in the world. You're going to grow your business one. Who's going to write a review about a vacuum cleaner or about a steam mop or about a blender? Who's going to write a review? Well, fast forward, I mean, our business grew because of 5-star reviews. I mean, we had the most 5-star reviews of any brands in our space. And we grew and grew and grew through this word of mouth of people writing paragraphs and paragraphs about our 5-star reviews. So our consumers have always been our brand ambassadors. But how did that evolve? Well, 2016 came, and it no longer was just having to write it. You could now go onto a Facebook group. You could go into a group of 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people, and you can share recipes and ideas and all kinds of things in 2016. Now, fast forward to 2019, that now all became social media. Social media. And so today, social media is just another way for the consumer to express their love and passion and excitement or their displeasure for your products. For your products. And when it happens well, they amplify it. They amplify it in a big, big way. I'll give you one example. In the month of June, we have a product called the Ninja Creamy ice cream maker. 99.5% of the content on social media had nothing to do with SharkNinja. Nothing to do with SharkNinja. Consumers just bought the product, took it home, made great recipes, and then went on TikTok or Instagram or Pinterest or Reddit or YouTube and showed millions and millions of their closest friends the recipes that they did at home. It's an amazing, amazing situation.
If you struggle with frizz, watch this.
That is literally insane.
That's me getting overly excited about my new Ninja Luxe Cafe.
You can't beat that. That is so good.
Look what came in the mail today.
The Shark Speed Style is literally my holy grail.
The more I get, the more I want. When it rains and pours, I want more and more and...
This deserves 5 stars.
Definitely 5 stars.
Luckily, the Shark Mist Master conquers every mess.
The technology behind them is genius.
Stop the hip hop. I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't stop.
It's just perfect.
Now, thanks. Now, here's what's amazing about the world today. That we go and we launch the Ninja Slushie a few weeks ago in the United States, and the social media goes out, and you start to look at the comment section. And what are the comments saying? When's the product coming to Norway? When's the product coming to Portugal? Advertising, this type of advertising has no borders anymore. Has no borders. Okay, whatever happens in one market, the consumer is so savvy to pick up on this. They're able to pick up on what the trends are in all these different places, in all these different countries. And before we even get to those markets, there's already demand that's being created through this in these markets. So what's next? What's next? Yesterday, in fact, we launched into the EMEA market a product called the Ninja Cafe Luxe. Now you would say, what gives Ninja the right to make espresso? You're an American. What gives you the right to make espresso? Right? Okay. I'll clap for you. Okay. Okay. Well, let me tell you, there's 2 different problems that we were trying to solve. We were trying to solve a problem for the American consumer, and we were trying to solve a problem for the European consumer. What's the problem for the American consumer? Espresso machines in the United States have 1.5% household penetration. The average selling price of them is $800. You need to be a barista. And I'm from Boston, and we go to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, and we get a coffee the size of this big, okay? And that espresso machine goes and puts this out. So there's very few American homes that are going to wind up having just espresso because they need all kinds of other drinks to have. So we say the problem there was, 1, versatility. It was limiting in what it made. 2, it was complexity. It was complex to make it. And 3, it cost a lot. Those 3 things, that was what we were solving for the American consumer. For the European consumer, we looked at it and said, wow, there's a younger demographic out there, and by the way, that younger demographic wants to experiment. Anyone here of cold brew? Cold brew coffee? I guarantee you that if you're on college campuses in Europe, okay, you will. You will. You know, there's markets that are drip coffee markets. There's iced coffee. There's cold presso. How many of you drink non-dairy milk? Non-dairy milk. Okay, there's a lot of you out there. Okay, how many of you don't just want hot foam, but you also want cold foam if you're making a cold drink? So we think there's a tremendous ability to create something and to introduce newer and newer and more exciting coffee drinks while still giving you amazing espresso. While still giving you amazing espresso. You just get that plus, 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 plus. And what we also recognized is that these machines are complex, you know, and they are expensive. And that's why some people wind up going to an automatic coffee maker because they don't want to mess around with everything. They just want their coffee in the morning. So we developed a product called the Ninja Cafe Luxe, and I want you to take a look at it here.
With 3 machines in one, the Ninja Luxe Cafe can make almost any coffee drink you crave. Rich and smooth espresso, child's play, drip coffee, up to a travel mug's worth, rapid cold brew, a lot faster than the drive-thru. Ninja Luxe Cafe.
We launched this product on pre-sale in the UK yesterday, and we cut off our wait list at 50,000 people. 50,000 people. So I know UK is not Europe. Is it? Isn't it? I don't know. Okay, but I think that it's going to find a really great home for it in Germany and the rest of Europe as well, which is where it will be launching here next month. So next month, wait and see the Café Luxe. Okay, so what about Shark? I mean, does Shark have anything? I mean, of course, you know, we can't do something in Ninja without doing something in Shark. And so I want to talk to you about the beauty business. Again, people looked at Shark and said, Shark's going to go into the beauty business? What does that even mean? Okay, what does Shark know about the beauty business? Well, I mean, I have a Latin wife and I have 2 daughters, and so I'm very familiar, actually, when it comes to the beauty business. Okay, it just so happens that I'm more of a consumer, you know, than I am somebody that's making the product. But I have some very discerning consumers at home that kept telling me about problems that they had, and we kept hearing about more and more consumers and the problems that they had. Shark today is the fastest growing hair tools company in the world. Our Shark FlexStyle hair styler has over 1 billion impressions on social media. And every minute of every day, we sell at least 1 Shark FlexStyle. Every minute of every day, we sell at least 1 Shark FlexStyle. So we developed a product that allowed the consumer to do so much at such an affordable, accessible price. And so the question was, what was the next problem for us to solve? What was the next problem for us to solve? Look, the product's great, but I wish it did this. Or the product's great, but... Or what about things that the consumer didn't even think about? So let me give you an example of how we tackled both of those problems. The first was, we said that although you could wind up doing most hairstyles, what you didn't have with our Shark FlexStyle is a straightener. Okay, so you can do all kinds of great things, but you couldn't get that pin straight, you know, profile. The other part about it is that you don't just want a straightener, you want to be able to straighten your hair from wet to dry in one pass with no heat damage. So we said, wow, we've got air. What if we made an air straightener that went on it? What if we did everything that the FlexStyle did, but now gave the consumer even more functionality and allowed the consumer to be able to do every style that they wanted to by being able to air straight? Now, we didn't just allow you to be able to air straight with wet hair, but we also put ceramic plates in it so that you can straighten with dry hair. Now, that gave us an idea and an inspiration. And it was, how often do you think that the average woman is washing their hair every week? Any guess? Is it every day? For women in the audience, is it every day that you're washing your hair? No. Well, what do you do the other times? I mean, you still have to style your hair. What happens when you come out of the gym? What happens when you have a ponytail and you've got ponytail crease? What happens in all these other cases when you have dry hair? Do I actually have to wet my hair to then get it back to styled? Well, what about the idea of dry styling? What about the idea of being able to wake up with bedhead and in less than 10 minutes be able to turn it into something that looks like you just left the salon? That would be amazing. I see him over there with his hair saying that would be amazing. But, you know, so if you think about it now, we're solving a problem that people had, and we're also solving a problem they didn't even know that they had. Because they're not walking around saying to us, please make a product that goes and solves bedhead. Please go and solve a problem when it comes to styling dry hair. So I want to introduce to you for the very first time the Shark Flex Fusion. Take a look.
Meet the Shark Flex Fusion, the luxury multi-styler for wet or dry styling. Transform wet hair to dry, silky, and smooth in as little as one pass with no heat damage. On dry hair, Flex Fusion combines heated ceramic and airflow to revive and shine, or volumize. No wash needed. Wash days or any day.
Embrace your hair. The Shark Flex Fusion.
This product will be launching later this month, the Shark Flex Fusion. It'll be coming to Europe in the early part of 2025. We are super, super excited about what this is going to do to continue to expand our hair care and our beauty business. So when you think about SharkNinja and you think about the 25 products that we're bringing to market, you know, the question is that I get asked all the time is, what's your favorite Shark or Ninja product? That's a really loaded question, right? I mean, I'm bound to piss somebody off in the company if I answer that question. But the honest answer is that it's the product that we've yet to develop yet. Okay, that we're getting better and better and better at identifying the problems, and we're getting better and better and better at solving those problems. And we think that we're only getting started as it relates to solving more and more consumer problems in more places around the world. Thank you.
Hi, Mark. What a remarkable and amazing speech.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want that you are thinking about us a little longer. Therefore, I have a little present for you.
Okay.
This beer will remind you on the 100 years edition of IFA. Thank you so much being here, supporting us that much.
Thank you very much.
And one more. Mark, we want that you stay that sharp as you are now, and therefore we have also a little jacket for you.
Wow. All right. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. I love that. Thank you so much, Mark. I think you really inspired everybody here. One thing that I remember from the many inspiring and wise things that Mark said was, be an explorer, not a tour guide. All right, it's a good one to remember. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. We're going to take a little coffee break right now, and then we'll be back here at 4:15 for our last conversation with Miele. All right, thanks so much, and see you soon. Bye.